Good afternoon, it's Seth at Houghton Lodge. Just come for a quick wander up the upper beat at the moment. Seeing what's going on. Seen quite a few mayfly today already, and I think there'll be more to come as the evening progresses. The swan somewhere there, just moseying down the river. Looking in good condition. A nice fish rising about 20 yards up the beat from where I am now. Fairly middle of the river. I would start and work my way up to that fish from quite a long way back, to be fair. Then as I get to him, I know I've got the right distance of leader out and the right distance of fly line. See if he'll show his face. Probably not now I've pointed the camera at him. While I'm looking for him, when it's the weed cut, I've been asked when you can fish it, why you can fish it, how you can fish it. On a weed cut, especially on your days on a Friday, that's quite often the clean down day, when the river keepers upriver of where I am release all their big bits of weed that are stuck on weirs and stuck in slack water, and you get these big rafts coming down, because it is our sort of clean down day where we start at right at the top of the river. They start on the Anton, eventually that works its way into the Test, and these big rafts of weed come down the river, and it's the keepers that move on from one beat to another. Now, if they've had an early clean down further up the river, we can sometimes be all through and done. But sometimes, I say, these big rafts of weed are coming down, and it is more or less unfishable sometimes. But if you're local, and Friday evening after the weed cut, when all that debris has come down the river and bits of bug have fallen off it and water life has been stirred up, those fish can often feed fairly well. That fish has gone away, but those fish can sometimes feed very well after a weed cut or during. If you can get a fly to drift alongside one of these rafts, we've had some quite good success with that. But on a Friday it is very difficult unless you can sort of stay till 8 o'clock. Our section normally ends up that Houghton Club clear down to the village of Stockbridge by about lunchtime. Little fish far bank there, and then they move it into my bit by about 1 o'clock. I move it down my bit, and then they take over again when it gets down past the boat. He's over there, he's far side of the river now, that's a different fish. But I take over and it goes down, they take over again when it passes the boat. So hopefully by 2 or 3 o'clock on a weed cut Friday we're clear here. But it is very dependent on what gets let go upstream of where I am and how much weed is cut. Once again today, a few hawthorns about, not as many as there has been, but these fish are feeding on mostly olives, I think. Hopefully they'll start and take a few mayfly. Out of this bit at the moment we haven't got a lot of weed to cut, but we are sort of 6 weeks away from when we need to be cutting it. He's over the far bank. Steady rising fish there, he's been up 3 times now. He's the sort of fish you want to be covering. But they are rising more or less full length of this river at the moment. Odd ones just up 2 or 3 times. They're having a little rest. It's still very bright sunshine, so some of them will just be sat under a lump of weed somewhere in a bit of shade, just keeping out the way. But that far bank will be nice and sheltered at the moment. It's where most of the flow is going on this particular pool, so you would have to cast across the river. It's not very far and it's a fairly easy cast. This top bait you can cover most of the river from the bank without going in it. In fact, I think you go probably over your wade as if you did go in it. But there you go, that's just a little look up the upper beat at the moment. Thank you.